Welcome in. Today we're taking a deep dive into unshakable finances, with Tony Robbins and Unshakeable.
Oh, yeah. Love that book.
We're going to be breaking down his strategies, trying to figure out what's hype and what's actually going to help you make some smarter money move, especially, with how crazy the market can be.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got some really key excerpts from Unshakeable itself. What's your gut feeling on Robbins' whole approach?
One thing that always strikes me about Robbins is how he takes these really complex financial concepts and makes them, understandable for everyone.
Right.
He's got this great way of blending expert advice with this really motivating tone, which I think really works. It's not just about, the numbers. It's about mindset too, right?
Totally. It's like he's saying, listen, you've got this, and here's how. So for our listeners who are, really serious about their financial future, what are the big takeaways from Unshakeable?
Well, three major themes really jump out.
Okay, lay 'em on us.
So first, he dives deep into market volatility. That's a given, right? Markets go up, markets go down.
Yeah.
But he's really emphasizing that's normal. You don't have to freak out.
Way easier said than done when you're actually watching your hard-earned money seemingly disappear.
For sure. It's way easier said than done.
Right.
But Robbins really hammers home this idea of emotional control and sticking to your long-term plan.
Totally. That's crucial, but any strategies in the book that you're like, oh, that's a good way to actually manage those emotional reactions, because we all have them.
Absolutely. He has this whole thing about the secret of the wealthy investor.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
And it's not about some magic formula or anything. It's about not getting scared out of the market.
Oh, interesting.
Like he says, most investors, they let their emotions call the shots. They sell low when everything's going crazy, and then they buy high when the market is through the roof.
Yeah.
And that's the opposite of what you want to do.
Right.
Right. He actually lays out this four-step system, a really practical system for kind of mastering your emotions when it comes to investing.
Oh, okay. I like that. So it's like a game plan, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's like a framework for thinking about it.
Yeah.
It involves defining your beliefs, understanding your own financial psychology, setting clear rules, and even creating a supportive environment around your investing.
That's really interesting. That's cool. What about the other big takeaways?
Okay, so the second big thing, and this is huge, this is like the cornerstone of so much financial advice, is the power of compounding.
Yes.
Robbins really drives this point home. He's like a broken record in the best way possible about how investing consistently, even with small amounts, it can grow into something incredible over time.
Right.
Thanks to the magic. He even calls it the miracle of compound interest.
Yeah, it's like that classic saying, best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
100%. And you know what? He compares it to, the snowball effect. He actually compares it to one of the most powerful forces in the universe.
Oh, wow. He doesn't hold back.
No, he doesn't.
Mm.
And then the third big takeaway is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. He really emphasizes spreading your investments across different things, different asset classes, so you're not, totally vulnerable if one area takes a hit.
So he's not saying just go all in on stocks, which is what you hear sometimes.
No, not at all.
It's about, creating a mix.
Exactly. He's all about asset allocation. He even gets into specifics. He'll give you percentage allocations for how much to put in stocks, how much bonds, and then he even gets into alternative stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay, like what?
Like real estate and gold and even, strategies that hedge funds use.
So it's like he's giving you, okay, here's what to actually do, not just these vague ideas.
Exactly.
Love that. Okay, now let's get into some of the juicy details. What really stuck with you from the book? Things that illustrate these themes in a way that's oh, okay, I get it now.
One thing that really stood out to me was how Robbins, he doesn't just tell you to buy when the market crashes.
Right.
He explains why it works.
I like that.
And he tells this really interesting story about this guy, Baron Rothschild.
Okay.
From way back, 18th century, I think.
Okay.
British nobleman, part of that whole Rothschild banking family.
Yeah.
So this guy, he made a fortune buying during that panic after the Battle of Waterloo.
Oh, wow.
Because he understood that when the market crashes, that's your chance to buy stuff on sale, essentially.
Yeah, it's everything's on discount.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about, like you said, shifting from that fear mode into, strategic thinking mode, right?
Sure.
How can I use this to my advantage?
Right. Yeah, it's everyone else is freaking out, and you're yeah, exactly.
And the best part is, it's not just oh, here's a cool story.
Right.
he backs it up with data and historical examples.
I like that.
Like he shows how over, the long haul, the stock market, it always goes up.
Right.
Even though it has these, dramatic crashes along the way.
Sure.
But the thing is, if you try to time those crashes perfectly and you miss even a few of the market's best days,
Right.
it can really hurt your returns in the long run.
That's so true. I think so many people get caught up in trying to time it.
It's so tempting.
It is.
But yeah, he really emphasizes that the best strategy is often just to stay invested.
Yeah, ride it out.
Exactly. Just ride the wave. So you got to have a plan.
Right.
And stick to it.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. Especially, when you're watching the news and everyone's like, the sky is falling.
Right.
But Robbins is big on, the mental game of investing.
Oh, yeah.
Don't let your emotions make your decisions for you.
Totally. That's huge. And it makes me think of this study. I can't remember who did it.
Yeah.
But they found that the average investor, they underperform the market.
Yeah, by a lot.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Over the long term, right? And the main reason, emotions.
Oh, really?
It's like they get greedy when things are good,
Yep.
buy high, and then they panic and sell low.
It's like plunk work.
It is. It's crazy. So, how do we actually, with all this information, how do we put it into practice?
Well, he gives you some concrete steps you can take. First off, fees. Minimize those bad boys.
Right.
He's really adamant about that.
Yeah.
Even what seems like a tiny difference in those expense ratios
Right.
over time, huge difference in what you actually end up with.
It's like those little leaks in a boat.
Exactly.
You don't even realize.
You don't even realize it, and then all of a sudden you're sinking.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, for example, he talks about how a 1.5% expense ratio
All right.
can really underperform compared to, say, a 0.1%
Yeah.
over 30 years
Yeah.
just because of how those fees compound.
Right. It adds up.
It adds up big time. So paying attention to those percentages, even if they seem small, is crucial.
That's really impactful. And it reminds me that Robbins stresses the importance of investing in low-cost index funds.
He does. And he suggests that even if you only have a small amount to invest, it's better to start small than not at all. He emphasizes the importance of building the habit of investing regularly and consistently.
It makes sense. It's like building a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly.
So what would you say is the most impactful takeaway from this deep dive?
I think it's about shifting your mindset from fear and uncertainty to confidence and control. Robbins argues that financial success isn't just about luck or timing. It's about understanding the fundamentals, managing your emotions, and taking consistent action.
It's about recognizing that the market will have its ups and downs, but that doesn't mean you have to abandon ship every time there's a little turbulence.
Exactly. It's about having a plan, sticking to it, and recognizing that even during those tough times, there are often opportunities to be had. Remember that Rothschild story?
I do.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of one of the things that Robbins really hammers home. Don't try to time the market. Just stay invested and ride out the inevitable fluctuations.
Absolutely. Because time in the market, not timing the market, is what really matters.
Great stuff, expert speaker. We've covered a lot of ground today. One final thought to leave you with. Robbins talks a lot about unshakable confidence. What would it take for you to feel truly unshakable in your financial journey? That's something to ponder. Until next time.